So we're back for the discussion with It Follows, and if you saw our review, we were pretty positive about it overall. Cal didn't care for it quite as much as we did, but we really liked it. We talked about the music and how good that was. I talked a little bit about the performances and the directing. The lead character was in The Guest, which was also a really fantastic movie. The premise of the movie, like, I loved. You're talking about like it was kind of slow, and I felt like it was really deliberate about like every sequence was a different facet of understanding what was happening. You had basically the opening sequence where she goes on the date with the guy and he shows it to her and all of that, and no one really believes her, and then you're wondering, like, well, is this going to be a movie where no one believes her and they think she's crazy? Mm-hmm. And they go through that for a few minutes, and then the friends, like, believe her, and they understand it and believe it. But then she runs off by herself, and then they kind of catch up to her, and she gives it to that other guy, and you start wondering, like, when she's going to pass it on, and who, like, what the body count's going to start being with all these, other people. But then it never really goes in that direction. She does end up sleeping with the one guy, and he ends up getting killed. Yeah. But every sequence... I
guess what I was...
every sequence was like a deliberate exploration of something. Like them going to that pool and trying to electrocute it or shoot it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like everything was...
adapt to what...
Yeah, everything was like another... idea of what they could do about it, or
it's what I'm bringing to it in terms of like what I kind of expected. Like I was looking for some kind of twist or payoff or something, and it doesn't. It pretty much just kind of ends. I kind of I was expecting some kind of turnaround or some,
If you're talking about the ending, I mean, the rest of the movie I thought was very tense and had a lot. I mean. It explored so many different things.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the same thing over and over again. It wasn't like... everything that was happening was interesting.
Well, story-wise, I liked. I mean, what I mean is like how it was done, like the like a creepy noise kind of thing. And it's like you really get into her mind and you're like, whoa, what's going to happen? And nothing does. You can do that maybe a few times, but this film literally does it like maybe 20 times where it kind of plays creepy music and it builds this tension and there's no payoff. It just cuts to a conversation or something. I don't know if you noticed that.
Well, there's plenty of times where it builds up and then whatever it is starts walking toward her.
Yeah, sometimes. But anyway.
A couple of things that I thought were brilliant were even in scenes where the main characters didn't notice the entity. It was there. Mm-hmm. It was there. It was in the background. You'd see it.
Especially the beach scene.
Oh my God! The beach scene was the best. I mean, it was slowly coming towards her, and you could see it. Nobody else could. Nobody could warn her, and you're just like, when is she going to turn around and see it? Because they always see it at the last second, and then she doesn't.
Yeah,
I thought that was excellent.
There's also there's a couple of times where they have like a bunch of stuff staged. There's one that's at that high school, and there's another one at the hospital where the camera just spins in a circle. And you see, like, all these kind of normal things going on, but, like, there's all these people doing different things in this business going on. And then just one time you see something walking towards the camera. And the camera never stops. It keeps spinning in a circle. But then, like, as it's getting close enough to where you might be able to tell whether it's just somebody walking or it's actually the entity, then the camera stops.
Yeah.
And focuses on them.
Yeah.
And that was brilliant because you want to pay attention to what the characters are doing, but you're keeping an eye out for the entity.
Right.
And I thought that was really cool because a lot of movies you're just like you're either focused on the character or you're focused on the killer.
Yeah, and you never know what it is in this movie.
Yeah.
You never know what shape it's going to take. So it's not like, it's not like always the same monster coming at you.
And also the fact that it's mindless in its pursuit. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's very dogged, but it's actually quite smart.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really cool, like when they set the trap for it,
Yeah.
and it turns the trap right around on them.
Yeah, and I honestly, I mean, I thought the ending was good. It was the ending I was actually hoping for about the last 15 minutes or so, was that it would be
Kind of ambiguous.
fairly ambiguous, but also like, yeah, it doesn't end just because the movie's over.
Yeah.
Like, she slept with Paul, and you see them walking holding hands, but there's somebody walking behind them.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the camera switches to that person's point of view, and it's getting closer and closer, and then
Right.
which was great. I mean, presumably they bought themselves some time. You would think that, because it insinuates that Paul sleeps with a prostitute, and then the prostitute probably sleeps with somebody else, yada yada yada, putting a good
Well, and we don't
buffer
know
between
how much time
them.
there is between
Yeah.
that and when we see it, or if Paul was able to go through with it. But the point is that it really doesn't matter if the movie definitively told you how it ends, or they defeat the monster somehow or whatever.
would've ruined it.
It wouldn't have
And with
worked
the
as
water
well.
and the blood in the water, it's also a possibility
Yeah.
that they ended it.
Well, and like the whole thing with
But they'll always be looking over their shoulder.
the guy that gave it to her in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
like, they didn't have to get back to him, or they didn't have to find some backstory. Like, they went and just found him.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, I'm sorry, this happened to me too,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then they just go and deal with it. It did a really good job of making you feel like you were the age of the characters. You know what I mean? Like, it made you feel like you were right there with them.
Yeah.
Did you feel like the movie was taking place in like early 90s? I did.
Yeah, with the old TVs and
The
stuff.
old
and
TVs,
lack
the
of-
landline,
The only
Yeah.
thing
Polaroids.
The only thing that was modern was that e-reader that the one girl was using, that
Yeah.
like clamshell e-reader. Anything else, it could have been from, anywhere from the 70s up.
Which I liked, because it wasn't
Yeah.
a distraction. You focused on the...
You could probably put this movie on, and outside of that little clamshell that she has, you could put this on next to a Halloween or anything, and it wouldn't seem out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was the tension that it built. Like, I was nervous when somebody started walking towards them. I was just like, oh God.
Yeah.
And that's what's good about a horror movie, and I was just really excited about it.
It was
great.
awesome. Yeah, so that's the discussion. Hope you like it. We really enjoyed the movie. If you like the way we do these, please like the video, subscribe, and check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com. Thanks for watching.